from Oklahoma. There's a white bird that was flying. It looked like a predator bird. Went and got his wing. He fell onto the road and then was turning around trying to make it back to the sidewalk. I don't know if he made it. So I couldn't have time to film it. It happened way down here off of Midway. I don't know why I'm reporting this. The bird was way back there. He got attacked by the predator bird, fell to the ground, then got up. He couldn't fly anymore because his wing was damaged. Turned around, started walking towards the sidewalk. It's hard to see those things. Because okay, Office Space fans and Mike Judge. That's where it took place. The very first still shot in the movie. Well, it's actually the first shot. And other than that, I think some of the traffic stuff may have been done in Austin, maybe. And then the rest in Florida is what I heard. But I don't know. I'm sure. That is the building that's connected to the Galleria, which is in the movie Office Space. So I'm going to insert a little Office Space photo here. It's that building right there. That's it right there. Actually, the one that ends in 11. The address one got it wrong. It's these guys over here. All right, cool. So what I always tell them when you're dropping off something is just let them know that they have other ways of tipping rather through the app. I don't always trust the app because these are huge companies. So I always give them at least an opportunity through, you know, Venmo or whatever it may be, right? So everyone uses their own different things. So that way you can at least ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. And at least let them know that you accept tips on Venmo or whatever it may be. I mean, after all, you're dealing with a huge company. You need to make a living while you're doing this. Tips do make a difference. You have to ask for it. And I would, you know, just tell them that you have other means to do it, because I do not know how Roadie deals with it. I don't know how, you know, they may have a little thing. I haven't seen a lot of tips come through on Roadie at all, and that goes for all of them. So I always tell them separately. That way, he also separates your tips from what they're giving you too. You can keep track of that the same way you can do any other way, you know. Nice little dog right there. It's like a little Airedale, little perm. I don't know if it was an Airedale or not. I couldn't tell. It's a cute little dog. And another thing I want to say about filmmakers, especially the ones I like, and I'm also a big fan of Orson Welles, because Orson Welles was an actor. He was an actor at heart. Scorsese, he's an actor. He was one of the best things in Taxi Driver. I mean, De Niro was very, very good, but Scorsese's scene, very powerful. See it. He plays the guy in the back when De Niro's adjusting this thing right here, rear mirror. The guy's in the back talking about a 44 Magnum and what it can do to a, you know what I'm saying? That scene was probably written by Scorsese, most likely improv, and it was very, very good. As good as any of them, okay? So he, at heart, he is kind of an actor. Now, he's a serious filmmaker, very technical, really great with dialogue. Probably, I would say Scorsese's the best with dialogue. After Hours, great example, especially with writing scripts, because he goes in there and he puts his thoughts in the scripts. He's a very dangerous actor. I'm talking about Martin Scorsese, very good. He also worked with Akira Kurosawa, excuse my pronunciation, in a film called Dreams, and he played Vincent van Gogh. One of the great performances for Vincent van Gogh. This was done by an actor, Martin Scorsese. Great filmmaker too, one of our best filmmakers. Now, that's another reason why I like him. He's a great actor. David Lynch too, another filmmaker that I look up to. Great actor. He was in Twin Peaks, played the deaf guy. You know, he's the one talking like this. You know, Gordon Cole here. What can I help you? What can I help you with? What's going on? Brought a whole genre of acting style called Lynchian, and his filmmaking is brilliant. He spent 5 years on the set, living in the set. They'd lock the door every night out in California for the AFI at this mansion. He lived in a mansion, and he lived on set for 5 years. You can't beat that kind of stuff. These guys are hardcore dedicated. Another filmmaker, Orson Welles too. You know, he was an actor at heart and also one of our greatest filmmakers. They usually are, believe it or not, actors. Now, Scorsese primarily does filmmaking. Primarily, he's done filmmaking. But he's had a better gig than most actors with working with Akira Kurosawa and Dreams, doing Vincent van Gogh. That's a great gig. That's a great gig for an actor. That goes right on the resume for acting. But acting is very sacrificial. It's a very tough thing. And David Lynch can prove himself, so can Scorsese. They stepped up to the bat back in the day. Now, they went back and they just focused on filmmaking. Now, there are some true just actors only. They're a dime a dozen. And they only stick to acting. And they don't mess around with, behind the scenes that much. There's a few of those guys. But a lot of actors nowadays, they're going to be behind the scenes as filmmakers too. And those are exciting people. Anyway, I got to make a right-hand turn right up here. I'm telling you, my show is going to be talking a lot about acting and filmmaking because that's one of my passions. We're probably going to stop by, get a little peanuts, maybe get tacos later. That's when I'm doing kaitel, when I talk like that. Get some peanuts, make a little bit of soda, head home, drive smooth sailing. I mean, after all I'm doing is pointing the camera, shooting, filming, just filming things. What's wrong with that, Hey, you film things, you go get a taco. The woman on my lap right now. I'm just joking. Yeah, it's Harvey Keitel impression, Gotta do that every once in a while. Bad Lieutenant kind of stuff. But the actors from the 1970's, you don't get better. Mean Streets, all the way up to The Irishman. You don't get better than those guys. They're the best. We are embarrassing compared to them, and we don't know why. Seriously, the acting in the 1970's, hyper-realism. The actors nowadays, they're more stylized. These guys, you couldn't tell there was a style. They were that real. They needed to be that real. The Vietnam War was going on. If you were an artist, you dedicated your entire life to it. You'd be insane not to. You didn't want to go to Vietnam. You'd be one of the 5 that didn't make it back. So you put everything you had. That's why Strasberg was such a serious acting teacher, because he needed to solve the problem for the actor so they could reveal the things that were going on that were wrong. We don't get performances like Deer Hunter anymore. You know, Michael Kanina's direction with De Niro and Christopher Walken and Harvey Keitel and all his stuff, that he even brought it in all the way to the 90s. A hard film to watch, like Bad Lieutenant, things like that. We don't get performances like that anymore. You know, and not that we really want them, you know, because they're hard to watch because they're so dang real. I don't know what happened to the reality. I think commercialism kind of got stuck in there. So a lot of filmmakers and maybe actors ran from it because they didn't want to reveal something, you know, this Marvel comic nightmare, and everything is very commercial. We bring in a lot of money really fast. Video games are bringing in a lot of money. Music is very populated, but we don't have a lot of great musicians. I think one of our great ones is Post Malone. I think he's a great musician. I think Mark Kozlik from Sun Kill Moon, I think he's speaking truth. There's a lot of times these songs that are sometimes mundane, or they're just talking about life. But you got to realize that these actors like Keitel and De Niro and even Marlon Brando, a little bit older, but those guys were coming out of a revolution, especially during the 60s and stuff. It was a hard time to exist. People were running because of their draft cards. They didn't want to die in Vietnam. It was a horrible war. They were cold about it. They would draft anyone, even if you were special, you know. But we have some hard actors, like Tom Hanks is a dang good actor, which, you know, he's kind of their age, I guess you could say. We got Brad Pitt, who's an exceptionally gifted actor. Leonardo DiCaprio, dang good actor. My favorite is What's Eating Gilbert Grape, of course, when he was very young. He was Prodigy coming out of it. We've got a lot of really good ones. They're just a dime a dozen nowadays. We don't have the Robert Duvall's and the De Niro and the Christopher Walkens, but you know, maybe they're hiding somewhere. There's some good performances. You know, the actors we have now are very working actors. Sometimes they carry a lot of style, but maybe it's the filmmakers, or maybe it's the stories that we don't have as much, and things do get a little too commercial. And sometimes, you know, the true actors and the artists shy away from Hollywood scene. When Scorsese was working in early ages, Hollywood was kind of closed down. The studios were pretty much kind of closed down in the 70s. And they had to like kind of reopen them. Have you ever seen how many current produced projects Spielberg has right now? It's an amazing amount. I couldn't even count it all. He looks over many films right now, you know. But it's hard, you know. I went in, I got to meet Frank Darabont. You know, it's a pretty good director. When I went in on The Majestic, I got to at least work with him. There's still good projects hanging on, but a lot of the old guys, you know, they're still making the great movies. And we're only trying, you know. We're just trying to present something. And then these vloggers come up out of nowhere, which is like Adam the Woo and even Jacob the Carpetbagger and stuff like that. And now, you know, they're exploring some, you know, a kind of the horror genre cinema. But sometimes, you know, they get to make this little movie and they're real excited about doing it. So we're still in revolutionary times. There's still a phenomenon going on. Don't give up on hope. But I'm holding a phone, you know. I'm holding a phone. And I just, you know, and occasionally I'll go and write a script or something. You know, it's just a dream. It's literally a dream to even think about it. But I guess if I was in LA, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. You know, it's a lot of, you know, these actors they're very high up there, like Mark Wahlberg, Bradley Cooper, Leonardo DiCaprio. They're turning into producers and stuff because they're going to be the guys that are going to be taking over all the studios and making sure things get done. Matt Damon was one of them, you know. I think Matt Damon was an exceptional actor. Him and Ben Affleck, they did some good stuff. But you know what I mean. You know, we're not going to compete with the with the guys, you know, from the 70s and stuff that were rising up. It's just, we might be able to, you know, we might be able to do some good stuff. There's every once in a while there's a really good film that comes out. You know, I'm trying to think. Like last year, you know, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was a dang good stab at trying to keep up with the great acting style of the 70s. And they're right up next to The Irishman, which was Scorsese. That was a heck of a film. I was really proud of Quentin Tarantino, because Quentin Tarantino's kind of borderline, kind of my era. You know, I'm a little bit younger than he is, but he's really taken a stab at being a great artist compared. I mean, you know, he would take his hat off to Mark Scorsese. Of course, we're nothing compared to those guys, but his style is amazing and fun to watch and crazy entertaining and great dialogue, inventive. You know, it's very stylized stuff, is what I'm saying. You know, it is still real. It hints at realism, but the style is amazing to watch. So we're still at good times. You know, we're still, and there are other hidden films out there. But I don't know. I'm just a big fan of the 70s, of the 1970 filmmaking. You know, and some of the stuff is laughable nowadays compared to that. You know. But look at the style of acting in the 40s, going all the way from like screwball comedy and stuff, you know, with like James Cagney and all that stuff. You know, we kind of go back and look at it and just kind of laugh at it, but yet it still holds its own. You know, Jimmy Stewart, Alfred Hitchcock, all that stuff is still entertaining. You can still watch it, but it has like a distinct style. Style changes over time, and that's what's interesting to talk about. All right. A copy of After Hours, $2.79. That's my life almost every day. I try to be a nice person. I really do. I'm very surprised I even survived New York City. I was quite the jogger. I had a disposable camera, took very little photos, didn't get any footage of 9/11 or anything. Really no footage at all. And I just wrote in a little journal, had a couple of little journals. I was a big time actor, like, you know, one of those natural. I was eating barley, peas, honey, and bread, and of course Matrix bars. We ate Matrix, our power bars, and occasionally we'd have some turkey. We're all vegetarian, a lot of us. I'm really surprised I survived. I'm so surprised. I ran as far as I could. I'm about 3,000 miles from the city. Haven't been back. But I have a good excuse to going back and vlogging. I could return that Armani coat that I took. They probably don't really want it back. I had a fear of freezing to death, but it wasn't even like a real coat. It was like a dress coat. I did pay for a coat though. I did buy a coat at the Burlington Coat Factory. It was a pea coat. And I had a guitar too. I played guitar as well. But I was a student. I was taking notes. You know what I mean?